of the page, the implications of what changes they made to the news feeds, and then we'll talk a little bit about Facebook deals and Facebook places and check-in. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on these, but these are some of the newer features of what Facebook's added. So I think it was Linda, maybe you asked a question, or Suzanne, about how do you get your content to show up on the news feed. It's this whole idea of edge rank. Facebook, back in February, they released a new algorithm that basically, we don't know the formula. They're never going to really reveal that, just like Google will never reveal their formula for how they determine page rank for search results. But what we do know, and Facebook has announced publicly, that affinity score is an important consideration. And so this is basically the relationship between the viewer and the person creating the content. The stronger that relationship is, that is a major factor in how visible your piece of content is. So you really want to get people to engage and connect with you. If you're trying to reach an audience, you want to create comment-worthy content where people are going to like it, share it, or comment on it. And the more that they do that, the more your affinity score is going to improve with that individual. So that's why strategy is so important with Facebook. Right now, it's conceivable that you could be doing a lot of posts, but if nobody ever really interacts with it, you post like, Monday here and Thursday the following week, and then maybe another week and a half goes by, your posts are basically invisible. So you've got to have a strategy. It's also important to think about frequency of posts. As Denny talked about, the more you post, the more you have the ability to stay top of mind. You don't want to get it to the point where it's obnoxious and distracting, obviously, but you really want to come up with a strategy. How can I add value to the person who's given me permission to put my content on their wall? How can I get them to engage and find value out of that and interact with me? The other thing is, this does degrade over time, so the older the post is, Facebook is going to decrease that in the order of importance. So it is going to, there is some time element to when your post was created. So does that all make sense? I mean, again, I wish I knew the exact formula. I'll tell you that I think if you're not posting 3 times a day on your Facebook page, you're not going to get the results that you expect or want. Minimum of 3 times a day, I think, is absolutely critical. And so, and again, it's not just enough to create content and post it out there. You really want to try to do those things to get people to provide feedback on your posts, because that's what ultimately is going to make the difference in this affinity score. This is a slide that I put together. I know we're running over time, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot about this, but I do want to point out a couple of features when Facebook, back again in February, changed the way that the business page layout was. First of all, what they did is they took away the tabs. There used to be tabs across the top. What they did is they replaced those over here on the left-hand side. I don't think it's nearly as visible. Unfortunately, it's taken a while to get used to. So that was an annoying thing in my mind. Another thing they did is they pull these pictures from your profile pictures. You don't have control over the order that they display in. You do have control over what pictures are going to show up there, but you don't have control over the order. So that's kind of annoying. Some people were pretty clever in that they would actually use these 5 pictures to actually spell out a message. And Facebook took that away. So, kind of an annoying thing. We talked about, so number 4 here, it's no longer the case that everything that shows up on your wall is going to be in chronological order from most recent to oldest because of this edge rate consideration. So there's no linear time element anymore on a Facebook page. I don't know if they just want to drive us all nuts or what. The other thing is this doesn't show up on the slide for some reason, But you can now use Facebook as your page for your business. So if you wanted to go in and like another page as your business as opposed to you as an individual through your personal Facebook profile, you can now do that. You just literally toggle back and forth between use this as the page. You have to be on your page to be able to use it as the page to set that. Or you can toggle it back to say, I want to use it as Ken Tucker in this case. Okay, so how many of you guys are familiar with Groupon or Living Social? Okay, this is Facebook's competitor to that. It's live right now in these cities listed across the top: Atlanta, Austin, Dallas, San Diego, and San Francisco. So they're using these as the initial launch cities, but this is going to be Facebook's Groupon competitor. It is Facebook's Groupon competitor. It is live in these locations. You can subscribe to deals. So if you go, I think if you just go to facebook.com/deals, you can go subscribe. And so whenever they launch it in St. Louis, any businesses that launch a Facebook deal, you will automatically get these deals, a notification of these deals. They just recently added this tab. So now I can see deals. Now these deals aren't of interest to me now because I don't live in these cities, but if I travel to Atlanta or Austin, these may be things that pique my interest that I want to take advantage of. So this is a really new feature. Quite honestly, I think this is going to be huge because it gets into social sharing as opposed to social buying. This is both. It's social buying and social sharing. And it's basically a testimonial every time I take advantage of one of these through Facebook. I'm going to share it with my friends, and that's a testimonial that this is a valuable thing to do. This is a business that I want to do business with. Here's the kind of deal I got. Huge, huge repercussions. Maybe even bigger repercussion is an announcement that Bing made on Monday, which is that they will now pull in Facebook content into their search results. So what we're starting to see, Google did this with Twitter back in February with what we call Google Real Time. We are now seeing a shift in the way search results are presented. It used to be search results were things that you did to your website to make your website more findable, and how findable you are, or how many other websites of quality linked to your website. Those were criteria. They still are the criteria that Google uses to determine where you're going to show up in a search. So if somebody's searching for a bakery in St. Peters, Missouri, when they type in that search phrase, historically that's the way it used to work. What's happening now is it's starting to tap into your social network. So if you're logged in to Facebook, and in this case you're logged into Bing, it's going to pull from your friends and anybody who said that they liked that particular bakery. It's going to show up. I think it's probably going to be hard to see here. But you can now see that people like this, and you can actually see if friends liked it, there's also the ability to see what friends liked it. So what we're seeing is a dynamic of a shift from the importance of, have you guys heard of keywords in terms of search engine optimization? We're starting to see a shift from the keyword notion to where social reach is going to be a determining factor, a major determining factor in what search results you get displayed back to you. It's kind of creepy, but from a marketing perspective, it's potentially huge. And it all comes down to how strong and how broad your reach is within your social networks. And so that's why anybody who had a strategy before about not building a lot of friends, not building a lot of fans on Facebook, not having a lot of Twitter followers, not having a lot of connections on LinkedIn, I would recommend that they rethink that if they're using those social media sites for business purposes. It really is all about how big those are and how extensive those are and how much engagement you get on those. Does that all make sense? This is all brand new stuff. We don't know how it's going to play out. For me, doing this as a living, it's a challenge, but it's also incredibly exciting because it's kind of the Wild West. It's pretty cool stuff. We do have a couple of folks involved in the TechCom that provide help and do consulting and even management services where we do this stuff for businesses. Changescape is one, CDK Web is another. Julie couldn't make it today because she had jury duty, But these are two firms that are involved in doing this. And you know, it's my job is to make sense of how all these changes are taking place so that we can help our clients be successful in this world. There is no substitute for your website. Your website is where you have to have people convert and do calls to action. Your social media sites are really a way for you to broaden your reach and expand that and promote your business. But in terms of conversion and getting them to do things, you don't have complete control over that in Facebook like you do with your website. So your website is still going to be very, very important. It's your hub of what's going on the web. But social media can and is becoming maybe one of the most important marketing strategies for small businesses. Next up, in June, we're going to be talking about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, I think, one of the most underutilized of the social networks. They've added a ton of great features that actually give businesses now a pretty strong capability to market themselves. But it historically has really been all about you as an individual and building your professional network. But it's changing as well. And so there are some great things that you can do with LinkedIn. So that's what we'll be talking about in June. And to the slide? Yeah, we'll make sure we can get everybody the slide material. So these are the folks that information. You know, please feel free to stick around and talk to Denny, Scott, myself about any of the things that we talked about today, and have fun with Facebook. Right. Thanks, everybody.